I asked the CEO of Edge, a company which really encompasses, at least at this point, 25 different separate entities focusing on everything from satellites to artificial intelligence. They've got traditional military hardware as well. I mean, I was standing right next to a 1,000-pound-a-ton bomb, and then right beside that we were talking about the future of satellites and the future of data and who's going to own that data. I had the chance to ask him, though, about the significance of the Aramco attacks. I asked him if he was surprised at how effective those attacks actually were. Listen in.
I think globally everyone was surprised on, let's call it, the size of the attack in terms of how much it stopped from the oil production. I think our Saudi colleagues recovered quickly from that. And I think in this world that's moving very fast, we all have to learn, adapt, and just adjust very quickly.
Because that was a sizable vulnerability.
I don't know, to be honest, the insides of what happened to cause that attack. I mean, we all saw the final effect. The internals of it, of what happened, what went wrong, I mean, we don't know. I'm sure our Saudi colleagues and us, and frankly the world, learns from every one of these things that happen, because when something like this happens in one place, everyone is really at the end of the day learning from it and trying to adjust in that regard.
To the new reality.
Yeah, to the new reality.
And when you think about what happens next in terms of the UAE's growing capabilities, you're working with not just other countries in the West, but you're also looking eastward as well. You've taken China on as a partner, for example. Are there any countries that you would necessarily stay away from due to security concerns? Because, of course, obviously the United States right now in that U.S.-China trade spat, one of the main focal points is security.
True. I think the political question is to be asked to the political leadership. I am running a commercial organization.
But it hasn't kept you guys from working together.
I think today, as a company and as a nation, the nation enjoys very good relationships with many countries in this regard. And it's always really saw itself as a country that has good partnerships, good allies and around the world. And we will follow always the guidance we have from leadership in terms of what policy do we follow and what policy do we have, and accordingly work with the right partners.
Is it a question of keeping your friends close and your enemies closer, potentially?
I'm not sure. Again, answering it as...
Because if it was a security issue, you guys would know.
I think today we value all the partners that support us in our mission, whether selling products, selling us technologies or IPs in that regard. And as long as at the end of the day it is something that meets our country's security, it helps our country's capability, it's in line with our leadership guidance in that regard, we will always pursue.
That was Faisal al Bannai, the CEO of Edge. Now, I got to tell you, Matt, in terms of the psychological shift that I've witnessed out here over the last decade or so, the fact that a major entity has been created with these 25 smaller entities underneath in terms of AI and building military hardware and satellites. This is an incredible move by the UAE. And when you walk into this Dubai Airshow pavilion, it's the biggest pavilion, it's front and center. They're really showing this off. And you got to wonder, and we'll be hearing a little bit about this later in the day, just how this impacts the United States, because they are the largest exhibitor at this air show, as usual, in terms of the military hardware. They've got over 150 entities as well represented here, everything from Raytheon to Lockheed Martin, all the traditional names that you'd expect to hear on the defense side of things. You got to wonder how that's making them feel, because this just as another signal. You know, we talk so much about the Russians moving into this region, about the Chinese moving into this region in terms of economic, in terms of the economics, in terms of that investment case. But we also have to remember that this does have security implications as well. So a lot of moving parts, but certainly something that has become a major focus for Dubai air shows over the last couple of years, and certainly at the Dubai Air Show 2019. Matt?